As organizations find themselves in a sea of unprecedented changes and market disruptions, their great assets are their people. And empowering their workforce with future ready skills is integral for mining their potential to open up career pathways. Through this initiative, we will dive deeper into three high impact areas: road transformation, reducing skills obsolescence, and enhancing employee engagement, which will also form the bedrock of our multimedia ebook coming to you very soon with exclusive and power packed expert insights and takeaways that will empower you to curate impactful growth journeys and thrive in the future of work. Thank you for joining us today.
Now, if you look at the scenario worldwide, globally, 9 out of 10 companies are facing a skill gap today. And the pandemic has only accelerated the need for the skill gap in the present context today. And if you look at more than 70% of the employees today are only willing to leave their current positions to work for companies that could actually be more willing to invest in training and education. So in this context, looking at the overall environment, the external and internal factors, reducing skill obsolescence becomes the dire need for any progressive organization to sustain itself in the market today.
We connected the dots to identify six facets or trends that could be considered for skilling the workforce of now and the workforce of the future. We call it the Q print, if you would. And the six elements that it has is that of industry readiness. As businesses need a new way skilling plan to stay ahead of market vagaries. The second one is, of course, credentialing to enable qualification or certification as a talent differentiator, not only within their organizations, but at the market at large. The third one, of course, is that of having an agility to adapt to the market forces. This can be done via flexible skilling plans that are responsive to the market changes. The fourth one is standardizing to scale, which means building repeatable skilling plans for talent transformation in organizations. While we do all these four, it's critical for us to look at the next one, which is measurement matrices, such that learning outcomes are qualified and help in informed decision making. When we bring these five things together, last but not the least, we look at reimagining business outcomes through the alignment of learning initiative with business goals like profitability, productivity, growth, employee engagement, just to name a few.
So, I'd like to bring a little bit of insights into the Future Leadership Development Program, which we had conceptualized at Bajaj. As an organization, we focused at being a future ready organization, and we wanted to ensure that the line of leadership which is there in the organization actually becomes a strong succession to the existing leaders, and there's a smooth transition which is happening in the business. So in order to do that, we very strongly believe that our people development agenda would focus not only on upgrading and aligning our future leaders in line with the changing needs of the business, but also build in some qualities like bringing in agility within them, accountability and achievement focus, and also adding in a sense of empathy and inclusivity into the leaders while handling the key roles that they were doing. So when we were trying to look at this transformation, we had a robust talent management exercise which we carried out within the organization, identified the high pots within the organization who could actually scale up to those roles in the future. And then when we brought them in, we deliberated with all the leaders and really understood that it's not just the technical competence which is going to put people at the peak of leadership, it's also the holistic development in terms of the leadership qualities which need to come in. That is where when we spoke to upGrad, we were pretty impressed with the kind of technology platform which they brought in, with the kind of expertise and the kind of experience they had with the trainers who were there to train our people on this specific soft skills. We loved the way they wanted to do the training using the psychometric tools to do the proper assessment of people to find out the strengths and their areas of improvement, which can then be harnessed in the right direction. This were some of the key important elements. Added to it, the blended fusion of having a self-paced learning, a virtual instructor-led training, self-help groups to do discussions and brainstormings amongst each other, getting in the industry experts to give you the best insights of practical business scenarios was something which was a mixed model which we really wanted to implement because the programs are pretty engaging and pretty participative. And the overall participant feedback which we've got from this cohort of that cross-functional 25 leaders speaks out in itself. The score of 4.75 on 5 in terms of the feedback was a measure of the effectiveness which was seen in the results of the program.
This is a great example of true partnership. And I do hear you when you said asking for the moon, but I would really talk about what a guiding force you've been in terms of the clarity of thought, in terms of where your employees are at, what are the skilling needs that you were looking at. And what was really impactful for our partnership also was the outcomes that you wanted to drive for the organization. Full credit to Bajaj Energy. They have a culture of recognition, either through peers or through leaders or through management. We also conducted a post assessment where the supervisors rated the learners who underwent these programs after 3 months of program completion. And this is where the post assessment knowledge score was 89%. In my 2 decades of experience, this is a very stiff benchmark to beat, and it gives us great appreciation and humility about what the Bajaj Energy team has been able to pull out on this.
So, like I stated to you in the beginning itself, the whole concept of creating this program was to have a future ready organization, was to have leaders, future leaders who could actually take in reins of the business and move it ahead further. Now, it happens in any organization, people get so bogged down into their own work pressures and into their own lives. The focus on learning or the focus on softer aspects or soft skills, which are the key essential elements in leadership, are most of the time lost out. So people become very monotonic, people become very theoretical or methodical in the processes. But ultimately, when organizations are moving on, the most important element even today, despite the advent of technology in businesses, remains about people, about managing people. So if you have people who have all the technical know-how and technical expertise, but they still don't know how to manage teams, don't know how to groom teams, or how to groom their successors, or if they do not know how to demand peak performance from their employees, if they do not know how to show empathy to employees when it's needed, I think they will not be able to retain employees, and that will become a more bigger or challenging issue which organizations today are facing. With the high rates of attrition, with the high, what I say, low retention or low engagement levels, I think organizations need to look at how do we create that binding glue within the organization, and that can only happen through interventions like this. I think the new tech edge companies in L&D space like upGrad, who are providing platforms which are actually available to remote teams, available to teams working in the plant, which are available to teams at any point in time, where whether I'm in office or I'm at home or I'm at a playground, I still want to do some learning, I can do that. And the whole transition is shifted from the classroom kind of training to micro learning training concepts, where I need to have a 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes video, and I can learn that and I can go on. So I don't need to go and sit and take a textbook and start reading it. Can I design modules which are easily accessible? Can I use artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality to create content which is very readily available on the mobiles, on the desktops, on the computers and laptops, available anytime, anywhere for me to enhance my knowledge. Because the point is, people have a very short concentration span, they're not going to carry it for long. So changing the learning landscape using technology, using micro learning concepts, using your AI, VR, new age technology concepts is going to help.
I would actually say that talent in organizations is better engaged when their learning aspirations are aligned with business goals. It benefits enterprises where employee satisfaction and retention increases brand value and overall business growth. I would urge companies and leaders to help learning and development teams quantify the outcomes that they're seeking and build that as a bridge to how it is connected to the business priorities. While a lot of companies are trying that, the most successful employees with the best amount of productive workforce are the companies who've been able to do that.
Well, thanks a lot, Meenakshi and Mohit, for your precious time and for sharing those incredible learnings with us. It's been great having you both on the panel. And for everyone watching us, stay tuned for our next discussion where we promise you more exciting and impactful takeaways on empowering your organization growth and strategies to thrive in the new age economy. Thank you, everyone.